Representative Tracy Richardson, thank you so much for joining me today on Message from the House.
It's great to be here. Truly, I'm delighted. Thank you for the invitation.
I know, I'm so excited. It's our first one-on-one female power podcast episode.
That's awesome.
I know, and we have a lot of female power to talk about, which is perfect. You are working on something new this General Assembly for the House Veterans and Military Development Committee. You, of course, are the chairwoman of that committee, this General Assembly. Before we get to that, I want to kind of set the stage for folks. We jokingly were talking about the mug that you did not plan for folks that are not watching it but listening. It's a West Point mug. And I would just love to know your background with the military.
Thank you so much for asking. I have to say, I entered the Army when I was right out of high school. And I enlisted, went to the U.S. Military Academy Preparatory School, and then went on to 4 years at West Point and went into the active Army for about 6.5 years. And the rest of my time has been reserves. I just retired last September right here in our National Veterans Museum. And if you haven't been to the National Veterans Museum right down the street here, I have to give a plug for them. It is our national museum. It's a national treasure, and it's right here in our backyard, right here in Columbus.
Yeah, it's incredible because they've completely remodeled it within the last 10 years, right? I got to visit when I was a reporter they had a 9/11 memorial set up, and it was just absolutely incredible.
Yes, and we're honored that they're right here in Columbus. I can tell you that my service in the Army stemmed from coming from a family that really appreciates being American. So my mother was the daughter of a first generation immigrant
Wow.
who came to New York City with no money and built a business. And my father is the son of a single mom, and he started working when he was very young. And both of them taught me there's no place like America. There's no place where you can live and be who God called you to be and to live an American dream and make your life better than this great country called America. So it was that actually inspired me to join the military, because in my spirit, I traveled outside of the United States and I'd seen how other people live as well. And I thought, I want to give back. I want to serve this great country that I'm fortunate enough to be born into and to live here.
And I think it's absolutely incredible that through your service, you also have a family. You're the head of the family as a mother and raising your kids. And I don't know how you balanced it all, but just a testament to your commitment to our country. So thank you.
Well, thank you for saying that, but I have to say, um, I I draw my motivation stems from a great spirit of service and love. It's a love of my family, it's a love of country, it's a love of my neighbor, and that's what gets me motivated to continue to get up every day and do what I get to do, and I'm excited about being the chairwoman for the what I affectionately call the VMD.
Yeah, right. And, you are taking on that role with full force with this new traveling committee that you will be kicking off this spring into summer. Where did the idea for this begin, and what is a traveling committee, if you had to describe it for folks?
Absolutely. I think, to be honest, I've been on the Veterans Committee for the last 3 General Assemblies, and I hadn't made it a priority. Even though I was part of the military, um, I had a lot of other interests that I was working on. I want to make a difference in education. I want to make an impact for my constituents and aging seniors. And in this General Assembly, I thought, gosh, I'd really like to do something really monumental that impacts our military, their veterans, and their family members. And with the complete encouragement from our speaker. And I must give a plug to the speaker here, because he came to me and said, I have this great idea, and it would be to really focus on making Ohio stronger militarily. And I just looked at him and I said, Speaker, You are speaking my language.
I love that.
So we instantly sort of brainstormed what that would look like and how I could lead it. And I took that and I just said, this is the best. This is the best opportunity. And we've been running ever since.
Yeah, that is so exciting. Talk me through, you have a pretty solid group on your committee of folks that also have experiences in the military. Has this been something they've been excited about? And, how has working as a team been?
I have to say, I am so I don't even know the word. I'm so honored is the word to be able to lead this team of people. I say it, I think, every committee, every time we get together. This is a group of individual leaders from across the state who are part of this VMD who want to make a difference. We have former military, we have current military, we have spouses of people who have have served in the military or their spouse has served in the military. We have a member who represents a very big military community and is very vested. I mean, we just have the whole scope, and we're represented well on the committee. And my focus is to create a vision and continue to move with that vision that we can work together to get things done. And it's a little bit of a paradigm shift. It's a little bit of a political anomaly in that way that I focus on team building, vision making, team building, all the leadership skills that I believe have served me well in the military that I hope to bring to our team and affect positive change to really make a difference in Ohio. That's why we're doing what we do.
Yeah, I can't wait to continue to follow just the different traveling committees and where you all are going. I know, you hit Wright-Patterson Air Force Base over in the Dayton area. Talk about, what's upcoming. Where else are you guys going? How many different traveling committees will you be having?
And I didn't answer that part of your previous question. The idea of traveling committees
Yeah.
or going to locations is so compelling because what we're trying to articulate and to communicate, not with our words, but with action, is that we care, that the General Assembly is going to your installation because we want to understand what can we do for you? What are the things that you are faced with? What are the things that you need help with that we can say, okay, we hear you. We will do what we can, whether that be with resourcing, whether that be with policy, whether that be just support and understanding where representatives have them, have a voice in their local area. For instance, Representative Lampton represents Wright-Patterson Air Base. Representative Santucci represents the Youngstown Air Base. And we went up to the Youngstown Air Base prior to the House voting on their budget. And one of the reasons I selected that first was because I was aware that they had some runway construction needs. And so by going up there, by meeting with the commander there, by seeing the facility itself, we were able to come back and make a compelling argument to the Ohio House that they need some resources. And that's what we were able to do. Can I promise that in every installation? Absolutely not. But the fact that we are actually getting out there and eyes on is the first step to understanding, defining the problem, and solving it.
And I'm sure it's also a testament to all the folks working on those bases of they are supported, right? And just knowing that you're supported and, the people, quote unquote, in charge of your district and the state do hear you and see you and want to highlight and help in any way that they can.
Well, we certainly hope so. That is our goal.
Yeah.
And we've got a few more lined up. We're working on. We have a number of other places. So if you're not on the list and you're listening, and you have a particular desire for us to come, please notify my office. But we do have some key and large installations that we want to get to and that we want to have eyes on, and we will be pursuing through the end of this year.
Yeah, you mentioned Youngstown. Talk me through. I mean, hey, we're driving 3 hours at this point from Columbus to make that visit, right? I mean, that's big. Are you excited about that one in particular? Or are there any that kind of stick out to you?
Well, we definitely want to go ahead and see the NASA Glenn Research Center because we recognize that we've sent around in the House a letter to get support to try to get their headquarters that it's in DC relocated to Ohio.
Yep.
See what I mean? When we start making it a priority, we make sure that other people understand how important this is and how valuable they are in Ohio. We set the stage for telling people come.
Yeah.
It's important.
And it's really neat. I saw a headline a couple weeks ago. Constantly you see, Senator John Husted, Congressman Max Miller making these pleas to our national leaders of, hey, Ohio, it seems like a no-brainer, right, with just the background of military and air travel history we have. And then we had, Representative Bernie Willis and Representative Ty Matthews just to talk through so many different things I hadn't even thought of why we are so poised to host that amazing headquarters and just the incredible people in Ohio that have such a good background to work in a NASA headquarters.
Absolutely. And it's not just NASA. We're looking at other installations as well. Rickenbacker, one of them. We definitely want to get down to the Springfield.
Oh, yeah.
There, that location. I'm afraid to mention too many because
I know, right?
We're also looking. We definitely want to go to the U.S. Army Joint Systems Manufacturing System in Lima, where they make the tanks.
Yeah,
that's an important place for us to eyes on. So there are a number of different locations and spaces. But if I can just take you back to your initial question, and just tell you a little bit about how we came up with the title Veterans and Military Development Committee.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first 3 years that I was here, we called it, I think, the Veterans and Armed Services Committee.
Okay.
And when I looked at that, I thought that's a great title, but we can elaborate, we can expand. We can say we're not only interested in our armed forces, in our veterans, and our families, and that is an absolute fact. But we also want to expand this and make sure that people understand that we support our defense economy.
Yeah.
That we want companies to understand we're open for business. And so we have Anduril that's now relocating here. And so we decided to call it, and the truth be told, Representative Matthews and I, my vice chair, we kind of brainstormed a while before we came up with this, but it's the Veterans and Military Development Committee to articulate multiple missions and to set a new message. And we affectionately call it the VMD so we don't get tongue-tied.
There you go.
Saying our title. By the way, VMD or anachronisms,
yeah,
those are very, very normal to the military culture.
Yes, that
we're known for it.
This is so embarrassing to admit. So I just moved from Savannah, Georgia, which is a huge military area. You have Fort Stewart, about 45 minutes away, and then you have the Hunter Army Air Force base that is right there. So we did so many different military stories, just an incredible community there. So I had a lot of veterans that worked in the newsroom, which was amazing. It had a second passion, and I did not know what 10-4 was until moving to Savannah and working with veterans, even though we have plenty of veterans in Ohio, plenty of military personnel. And I was like, what's 10-4? He's like, it's okay, Olivia. Okay, 10-4. So now I don't know if that's an abbreviation, but okay is also a 2-letter word, but 10-4 was one that I learned.
For you for learning. But I'll tell you, stick around Representative Willis and you'll learn a whole lot more of those kind of, those different the ways in which we communicate. And I will just say, if you watch any of the VMD committee meetings that I chair, I find myself sort of slipping into military speak.
Yep.
We're going to rally, we're going to set this vision, and we've got this mission and I'm all about team building.
Right.
I'm all about team building. And again, to your point earlier, I just have to give a shout out to my team. This team, excellent.
Yeah.
Top.
And it's amazing, too, to just see the bipartisan effort, right? Because it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican showing up to these bases. I'm sure they're just as appreciative that they're being heard and supported.
Absolutely. Yes. And I work with our ranking member on the committee tightly.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. I love bipartisanship. I think we all do, right? When we can come together as people and Ohioans for a greater goal. What it's all
Problem
about.
solving is how we're trained. We
Yeah.
can't fight and win wars unless we know how to problem solve. And that's probably the greatest strength we have with our military members in the house.
Yeah. Well, that was a great way to put it too. I want to circle back to something I had brought up, which I've never heard of anything like this, a traveling committee. In the couple of years I covered the legislature to now, eh, has the House ever done anything like this of being in different locations for committees?
So that's a really great question. And in my time here, I had never seen it done. So I thought, well, I'm innovating something. I'm doing
Right.
something new. The speaker was really, really supportive. But then I found out um, that, yeah, I guess a number of years ago, I mean, at least over a decade or so ago, because Rep. Davila, who is on the committee, indicated a little bit to me that he had been part of some traveling meetings.
Oh, wow.
So I'm still unraveling that, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm not sure how they did it. And, certainly times are different because we're much more connected
Hmm.
than we were years ago. We have social media, we have a lot of different news sources and things like that. But I'm excited because I want the message to be very, very clear that this General Assembly, that in particular, the Ohio House of Representatives, wants to make a difference for our armed forces. We want Ohio to be military strong, and we want our defense economy to be strong as well.
And that has been what has been so neat about this platform and the podcast is emphasizing to folks the people that you're electing, the people that are chairing these committees or in positions of power, they have such a long and strong background in these sectors, right? I mean, you just said Democrat, Republican, you have a team of great minded former military, active military. Same with education. We talked with Rep. Byrd and Rep. Fowler Arthur.
Mhm.
So I think I'm even learning just the wealth of perspective and knowledge that we have in these different areas.
That's absolutely true. Like I said, I mean, we have Rep. Holmes,
Hmm.
who's retired from the Navy. We have Rep. Davila still serving. I mean, we just have an impressive array of people. And I guess I don't want to boast so much because at the end of the day, we boast never. We just
Right.
we just focus on doing the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. And our mission is clear. And so we are trying to go out to the installations because we genuinely don't necessarily understand the scope of how and what we should do until we hear it,
Yeah.
until we learn it. And that's the intent. And we don't, we know that we're not going to solve every problem or whatever, but where we can resource, where we can create policy that makes things better for for all in that in our space there in the military space, we will do it as much as we possibly can. And I don't think you could ask anything more of your electeds.
Absolutely. And that was the perfect segue into just talking about legislation that is in the works or, going through the chain right now that supports our military community.
Yes, a terrific question. I will say every single meeting we've had I've had a twofold mission in my mind. One, how are we gathering today? So in the beginning of the General Assembly, we were inviting a lot of different military organizations, the Department of Veteran Services, just different groups to come and present to us. What is life like? And we're hoping to have the head of the National Guard come here in the next month or so. And so we can listen, right? We can hear. And then on top of that, we've got some legislation that moved through the Senate that we're hearing now, and we will continue to hear. One is a piece of legislation where it would create a poster that lists on it various resources and support systems for veterans.
Oh, wow.
And it would be a,
Wow.
a poster that through the Department of Commerce, we would encourage different businesses to post so that as a former military is working or passing through a lunchroom or down a hallway of a business, that they can glance at it and go, "Oh, I didn't know that that was available," and we can help educate and inform. So that's that bill. I am extremely passionate about a bill that I have been working on since the last General Assembly. In the last General Assembly, it was HB 254. There's been a lot of interest about it, so let me just talk to you a little about it,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. It's a bill that addresses property tax help for disabled veterans.
Oh, wow.
So now in the last General Assembly, it was 100% property tax exemption for disabled veterans, for 100% disabled veterans. It was a very heavy lift to do because the cost is very significant. And for various reasons, in this General Assembly, I decided to drop the bill again, but I adjusted it, and I wish I didn't have to because I'm 100% behind HB 254
Yeah.
from the last GA, but I know there was resistance to its funding, and so where we are now is we scaled it back, and Rep. Davila is the joint sponsor of the
Oh, great.
bill. And what we're right now, it's had its second hearing, and we're hoping it'll get voted out of committee in the House and hopefully brought to the floor and then pass through the Senate as well. But it is a bill that says if you are 100% disabled veteran, we will double the enhanced homestead exemption of $50,000 to $100,000 annually for you. And there's an income qualifier with it so that if you earn $125,000 a year or less, you would be eligible for that additional $50,000.
Oh, wow.
If you make more than that, you would still be eligible for the $50,000 exemption.
Mhm.
And while some veterans are disappointed it's not the full, and I am too, I'm determined that when you adjust and you make adjustments based on what you're seeing the resistance is, that we will move the football in this General Assembly and that we'll get something for our 100% disabled veterans.
Yeah, I think something is a great step towards more, right? Just getting the ball rolling with something like that. Obviously, property taxes have been a huge focal point this General
They
Assembly.
are. They really, really are. And my approach to property tax is to say, yes, we need significant help with property taxes, but let's focus first on the most compelling needs. And in this case, in the case of disabled veterans, in my opinion, the most deserving.
Yeah.
Because disabled veterans have given. They've given. They've given their health. They've given their physical capacity for the people of this state and this country. Why aren't they at the top of getting assistance when they need it?
Yeah, 100%. I always, I had to learn about how that's all monitored, and I shouldn't say given out. Granted isn't even the correct term because it is such a sacrifice of the disability scale. Friends that I had having parachute accidents and
Yes.
things like that. That was such a different culture from anything that I grew up around in Central Ohio. So you get a deeper appreciation for all of it.
Well, I just want to say on behalf of all veterans and
Yeah.
all those who have served, thank you for caring. Because
That's so nice of you.
I have to say, there are a lot of people that really don't get it.
100%.
And
I didn't get it.
And they don't know because they've never had to get on an aircraft, fly to an undisclosed location for an undisclosed amount of time, doing a mission in all kinds of weather
Mm-hmm.
and in all kinds of circumstances.
Yeah.
And willing to put their life on the line in a foreign nation a lot of times for us to defend our country, defend our values, to defend our Constitution. And to all of you, I salute you.
And for those not watching, Rep. Richardson just did salute. For those listening to the podcast.
And for all of you, I did not have any kind of thing in front of me. So if I didn't salute you according to the proper function, remember I'm sitting down now. I did not snap to attention.
It was perfect. And I think, we have some time here. We tackled a lot of the big things with the traveling committee. Do you have a specific memory or, positive and negative time of hardship throughout your service? Something that you really enjoyed, a pivotal moment during your service? I'm sure there are so many, but do any stick out in particular?
Wow.
I know. I'm so sorry. I just thought of that on the spot. I'm just curious.
I will just say in general, to anyone who's ever served, what you face is your mortality. And, you know, that extends not just to our military, it also extends to our first responders who put their lives on the line every single day. They wake up, they don't know if they're going to come home to kiss their children. I will just say this. Training and the work that military do, and then how well trained and so disciplined that they do it. And they get on, they go there and they face challenges that most people could not even conceive of. And they see things that most people would be horrified with. And they face their mortality. And I've seen it. And I've experienced seeing people suffering like that. And it's humbling. It's very, very humbling. So I can't say there's one particular moment. I would just say the discipline, the selfless service, the loyalty, the duty, the integrity, these kinds of values that it takes to serve our country, it really deserves our appreciation.
Yeah, that was so well put. And truly, in talking with you, it doesn't sound like there's any better leader for the House Veterans and Military Development Committee. And I'm excited to see how these traveling committees go. I'm sure, your committee members and other folks are too. But I want to thank you so much for joining me on the podcast episode.
Thank you for caring so much and for having me on. And I just want to say, truly, truly, I'm honored to do this job. I'm privileged to do this, to have this opportunity. And this opportunity is only as successful as its weakest link.
Yeah.
So the entire, I just hope the entire state and everyone watching rallies around our vision of making Ohio the strongest, best military state in the country.
And I think you all are doing a great job in leading the charge with that. And I mean, I feel more patriotic after this 30-minute conversation, and I hope folks listening do too. I want to quickly talk about the socials. You can find us on Facebook at the Ohio House GOP Caucus. On Instagram, we are the Ohio House _GOP. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts today. Once again, we have Representative Tracy Richardson. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and God bless America. God bless the great state of Ohio. Thanks again.